I was never going to give birth without a doula.
We both wanted doulas for the sake of the consistency. We both did not have said doulas
Physically there.
we planned for physically when we actually gave birth because we both had C-sections.
My doula called it. She's like, you're going to end up in an emergency C-section.
I would tell you to do it, 100%. Like 10 out of 10, I would recommend it.
Welcome to Advanced Maternal Age, real and raw talk from pregnancy, labor, 3 a.m. trenches, and the messy magic of motherhood.
Fertility, conception, surprise turns, and the acronyms no one asked for.
Whether you're tracking your cycle, cuddling a newborn, or figuring out what's next, you're in the right place.
I'm Achinth.
I'm Meredith. We're your co-pilots on this AMA ride.
This is Advanced Maternal Age.
Hi guys, we're back. This episode, we wanted to talk all about our doula experience, which I think makes sense, obviously, to talk about it after it happened. We both had doulas, but we used different doulas. We had different styles in our doulas.
And why we chose the doulas. Why did we choose to have a doula?
Yeah. A lot of people that I spoke to maybe didn't even know what a doula was when I would say, like, oh, I have a doula. And a lot of people were like, what is that? We recently learned for ourselves, actually, that a doula is not an Eastern or a Western medical practice per se. It's actually technically not even a medical practice. It's more of like an emotional and a little bit of a physical support. They're not trained in anything medical at all. The slogan that they love to say is like, they're there to mother the mother. So they're there for you during your birthing time or during your postpartum, depending on what type of doula you hire. My doula only was a birthing doula. She did not do postpartum care, but I could have hired a postpartum doula. I decided not to. And Achinth actually had both, a birthing doula and a postpartum doula. So we're going to go into that and kind of like both of our choices in regards to a doula, why we chose, because we both gave birth in a hospital. We both had an OBGYN. So it wasn't like we were trying to skirt traditional Western medicine practices, but we had our reasons for why we wanted a doula. So Achinth, why don't you start? Why did you want a birthing doula?
I was never going to give birth without a doula. I mean, even though I took my time deciding if I even wanted a child, it was very clear to me very, very early on, like before I even got married, way before the concept of even settling down with like a family life, I discovered the concept of a doula, and I was like,
wow.
Yeah. I forget
You're really ahead of the curve.
Well, it was always like, I don't know, because brown people are always like planning their lives. Okay.
My mom just wasn't even getting married or having a kid, but she was picking a doula.
Yeah, I knew. I was like, if I ever give birth, there's never going to be a birth without a doula.
That's actually hilarious.
Funny enough, my doula was not physically actually there.
Spoiler alert.
Childbirth and the entire concept of it, even though even earlier before, like in my 20s, when I didn't even know anything about like what I would do with like my family life, it has always scared me. It has always like been like one of those like really like, oh, I'm so scared to get pregnant because I'm so scared to to give birth.
Oh yes, I resonate with that. I always said that to anybody. I was petrified to be pregnant. Like I just thought I'd be the worst pregnant person.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my gosh. And then you actually have to get this thing out of you. And it's, I don't know. I mean, we obviously can't be the only ones, but it's just, it's like archaic. Like, it's like, oh my God, this is going to come out of me. I still have imposter syndrome every time I look at my son, like every day. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you were in me.
Yeah.
You were in me, you know?
Yeah. It's
so
really
crazy.
Interesting because you took a different birthing class, but I did like the traditional hypnobirthing class. In that class, they actually said that the fear of giving birth is like usually because of media, because we watch, TV shows,
social
media. Not saying that people aren't screaming like that when they're pushing, but the
lady on the other side
traumatizes you.
The lady on the other side of the wall from me was doing an all natural birth. And apparently it was like her third kid.
And moaning.
No. It was full on screaming.
Oh, wow.
But it was her third kid. And this kid came in hot. We had all of a sudden, all my nurses ran. They had to leave the room because this kid was like coming out. So just like
that was like my dream.
Random side note. Well, she was 3 kids in. So if you have 3 kids, I guess that'll happen to you. But anyway, even my mom was in the room. No, sorry. I take that back. That's a lie. My mom was in the room. My doula was in the room. And even she was like, what's that noise? Like it did sound like painful, like someone was in pain, but it was very short lived.
Wow.
And she didn't think it was someone giving birth. Like, honestly, she didn't, because to your point, it's usually not like that. And that's more like a movie thing. But then cut to 10, 15 minutes later, my nurses came back in my room and we were like, did you hear that noise? And then she told us, she was like, oh yeah, that's why we had to leave really quickly. There was a lady came in and she was giving birth real fast and there was no
That's
pain
probably why
medication.
she was screaming, because it was just happening
So fast. Yeah. But anyway, I was like, oh, okay. So imagine me, like, first time mom, like in active labor, and I'm hearing this and I'm like, oh, cute. Okay. And even my doula, like, looking at me going like, oh, no, that's not someone giving birth. That must be something
That
else.
can't sound
But here we
normal.
are on the labor and delivery floor. Like, what else could it have possibly have been? You always knew that you weren't going to give birth without a doula.
No, I was like, there's no way.
And why? Because you wanted it for what reasons?
I wanted it for like the emotional, mental support. I knew that that's what they provide, that they're for the mother. And that's kind of like all I knew my entire life until I got pregnant. And doulas ask you a lot of questions about like the type of birth you want to give, epidural, no epidural, like all the interventions. And they ask a lot more technical questions that I didn't actually know. That they
For
were
the
gonna
birth
be
plan,
asking.
you mean?
Yeah, for the birth plan.
Yeah,
But-
that's true.
Which everything goes out the window, as me and you know.
Yeah, but I agree with you there. I was a similar way. I wanted one because I wanted just the consistency, because we were fortunate enough to have a sole practitioner OBGYN, but I didn't know that that would be the case, or at the time, like when I found out I was pregnant. So if I did have to do a traditional route where you have to go through a practice that has several OBGYNs, I at least wanted the consistency of knowing like, okay, I'll get to know this one person. She'll be in the room with me. I'll be able to have that like security and comfort. And while she's not going to be able to provide medical advice to me, she can just kind of keep me calm and guide me. And again, you create the birth plan ahead of time, like you say. So the idea is to follow the birth plan as much as you possibly can. And same with me. I was really kind of shocked by some of the questions that she was asking me on the birth plan. When did you hire yours? Do you remember how many weeks pregnant you were?
Maybe like month 4, 5, something like that.
So I hired mine really early. I think like my 10th week or something of being
Which I think
pregnant.
you should do.
So I found her through an agency and I interviewed 3 doulas total. She was the only one that I interviewed that had a good amount of experience. So the agency I went through had basically like, let's call it like beginner, intermediate, and like advanced doulas. So beginner is like, basically they just came into the agency. Maybe they've worked with like friends or family.
Okay.
But they don't have like a lot of real client experience, right? Like dealing with people they don't know.
Yeah.
And then like the intermediate and the advanced, the difference between the two, I think was like the intermediate at least had done 50 births plus, and then the advanced was like 100 plus. So
it's more expensive.
right,
The more
exactly.
advanced.
I was going to say,
yeah.
right. So basic, intermediate, and advanced, you pay a different price point. I definitely wasn't going to go basic, but I did interview a couple people who were basic. I think one of the 3 was basic because I liked her profile. And ultimately, I just ended up going with the person I went with because I thought that she had good experience. She delivered a lot of people at the hospital I was going to deliver at, which was important to me because she kind of knew the staff and things like that.
It was really helpful for me because she would learn things from her doula and then tell me about where we were delivering. And then I would get to know about that.
Right, because your doula didn't have really experience at that hospital.
She had delivered there, but it was like so many years prior. Like she didn't remember.
Right. I think the way that I did it, I would definitely recommend to people, like if you don't know someone like Howard Chin knew through friends, then of course, there's a lot of really good reputable agencies out there.
Highly suggest probably interview a few people too. Right. You did that.
Yeah, I did 3. I think at least interview 2. The more you can, the better. I would have kept interviewing if I didn't find a connection, but I really liked my doula's name. Her name was Ashley. I really liked her. And because I hired her so early, I did really get to know her. So it was unfortunate that when it came time for me to deliver, she wasn't there. So she had a host of really bad luck. She had several issues happen in her family. And she had told me 2 days before I ended up delivering. Now, I delivered a week early, spoiler alert, from my due date. I've been having Braxton Hicks for a while, for a good couple of weeks. And I was communicating with my doula about this the whole time. So even she was saying, maybe you will deliver early. So when she had this unfortunate personal event happen in her life, she told me, hey, just heads up, if you give birth in the next like 4-ish days, you're going to have the backup. But we never talked about the backup. So that's one thing I'll say as far as a learning is I assume she had a backup, but I guess I didn't think I would actually have to use it. So I never asked questions. Like I never asked who this person was. I never asked to meet her, nothing. Thankfully, she was so sweet. It worked out really well. She was great. Like we vibed very well. But yeah, my actual doula, who I like hired from week 10 of being pregnant, this person that I like developed this relationship with, like was texting her like weekly, multiple times a week through my whole pregnancy, and her ass wasn't even there. So that is a little bit ironic, but like I said, it worked out for me. Thankfully, the person who came was so sweet. And even though I ended up having an emergency C-section, she actually stayed, which she didn't have to. Like she could have left, but she stayed and she visited me afterwards. So sweet.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, she was so sweet.
That's interesting that you said that because my doula, even though we knew that there was going to be a C-section on the table, I think I spiraled so hard that she had to like take care of me so much emotionally that we forgot to actually do like a C-section birth plan because it was like, you're just going to go in, But what's interesting about my doula is that she did Reiki. I mean, I also had a postpartum doula, but
Your birthing doula did Reiki?
My birthing doula did Reiki.
Oh, okay. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, so she did Reiki, and that was it was like I think for her, it's part of her package that she'll do one Reiki session prior to the baby's delivery to kind of like help the baby, welcome the baby, do whatever, make a connection with the baby.
Yeah.
So I did do something with her, and that at that time she had actually seen, and it was really interesting because my husband does Reiki, and he was doing Reiki on me, and I would sometimes do it. And I kept on seeing the same visual of a baby, like from like a curtain being popped up, right? Like how they pull up the baby from like a C-section.
So crazy.
And she saw the same exact vision. And she was like, I think you're just going to have a C-section. And I was like, that's really weird because I keep seeing the same exact thing. Yeah, she was like, I think this is going to be a C-section baby.
But you guys didn't do like a formal C-section plan, even though you were going to go in for a schedule.
Yeah, I think the reason why maybe it kind of got like muddled under everything else that was happening is that, I was trying to induce my labor so hard,
right?
So badly, I mean, I did everything you could possibly do to induce labor.
Yeah. This lady was going in to do acupuncture like
3 times a week.
3 days in a row, which
that's like
not a good idea.
Not recommended.
Like that's too much. It's too much
not
energy.
Recommended.
It's too much energy. He literally told her to leave and not come back.
Yeah, he was our acupuncturist.
He was like, you're done.
I can never forget his face because he was looking a little scared for me. He was like, please go back.
He was frightened for his life, for his license, for dealing with a chin.
Yeah, probably.
He's like, okay, I am respectfully don't want to see you until you have this baby.
Yeah, exactly. So she did Reiki, which I thought was really nice because she can kind of like connect with the baby, kind of see like where you and the baby are at and maybe help guide you, because I was at a loss of a decision on like if I wanted to go through with an induction, do I just want to put like a C-section on the table and then try to get into active labor prior to that. So that was really nice. Like I'm sure she does it differently for everybody because Reiki is different for everyone. But for my session, that was the answer that I was getting. And that was really kind of nice. But, anyways, I was like, no, we're not doing a C-section.
But she never came to the hospital, right? Your birthing doula?
No, because mine became,
right.
Yeah, because mine was like basically an elective.
So the takeaway here is we both wanted doulas for the sake of the consistency. The hot take is we both did not have said doulas
physically
that we planned for physically when we actually gave birth, because we both had C-sections. So, but I think it's important to note that just because we had the C-sections, I don't know about you, but for me, I definitely did see the value in it.
I still
like
saw the value
all
in
the
it.
prep, because we hired early. So I had her, the way my doula worked, I don't want to say this is how every doula works because I don't know. But the way my doula worked is I had 2 virtual sessions with her and then 1 in-person session. I could text her anytime I wanted to.
Yeah.
I could call her if I wanted to. So
there's always open communication with the doulas. Like you can text them whenever, like once you sign up with them.
Which I think was really helpful. So like I would,
I
text
used
her.
my doula a lot.
Yeah, I would text her all the time, like when I was going in for like, different appointments and, I would send her like the updates that I would get from the ultrasounds and everything. So it was just nice just to have somebody else there, like another sounding board again, who's not like a friend or a family member or a medical professional, but like somebody who has been around enough births and is there literally to help you through it, like emotionally.
Yes.
So I would say that even if you are going to have a C-section, even if it's like a scheduled one, I mean, again, it's a luxury because it's not cheap. Obviously where we live in the world, things are always more expensive. It's not a cheap thing. Maybe some insurances cover it. That was not the case for me. Yeah. So, I mean, it's something that not everyone can have because yes, it's not cheap, but if you can do it, even if you're going to have a C-section, I would say for sure, if you're a first time mom, I would tell you to do it 100%. Like 10 out of 10, I would recommend it.
My doula called it. She's like, you're going to end up in an emergency C-section, right? And she kind of knew that. So that was really helpful for me. Funny enough, actually, my doula and one of my friends are related. And so I was calling the doula and I was calling my friend. She's a medical professional. And I was calling them as they're prepping me to get ready for the C-section and telling them my effacement, my dilation, my this, my that, and everything. And they're both like, just do the C-section, right? The interesting thing about my doula is though, yes, like people might think that when you hire a doula, that doula probably has given birth vaginally. And that's not necessarily the case because my doula ended up with 2 emergency C-sections when she had her children. I think it worked out for me perfectly because she knew where, like in my pregnancy, when they were doing the cervical check and everything, like how far I would have been from active labor. So she actually was like, don't try to be the hero and do this to yourself and don't do this to the baby. And I thought that that was like the most emotionally supportive way to have me get comfortable with the surgery. Cause I was also, even though mine was elective, I was spiraling.
I mean, it's
like
a big,
crazy.
it's a huge surgery. Like now that we've both been through it, like not that I didn't think it was a big deal before, but it's a big fucking deal. So having that person just there as a sense of comfort, a gut check, a sounding board, whatever you need, I would definitely recommend. I did not hire postpartum doula. I did interview some though, and really weird how life works. Because the only thing I'll say on this topic, because this is totally your topic to discuss because you had one, I didn't. The lady who runs the baby yoga that we go to every week, she was one of the postpartum doulas I interviewed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, super funny. Yeah. So you had a postpartum doula. So talk us through that.
Like, I had the doula, the postpartum doula, the live-in nurse.
Yeah, we both had the same baby nurse.
Yeah, we both had the same baby nurse.
You would recommend a postpartum doula, or would you say that if you had to choose between, which one would you do?
You know what? So I hired a postpartum doula from a very, I think, a different standpoint than what postpartum doulas always do. So I wanted somebody to come in and do like a traditional Ayurvedic type of situation for me. The Abhyanga massages, the belly binding.
Explain that for people who don't know, because I think a lot of people don't know what that is. What was it? Why did you want that?
For traditionally in Indian culture, Ayurveda is like such a big part of like the postpartum, like how you're supposed to eat, what you're supposed to eat, how you should be taking care of yourself.
Oh, interesting. So it's similar to like the Chinese tradition of like
the
40 days.
Yes, very similar. The 40 days. And we also have the 40 days too.
Okay.
You're not supposed to go out and about or do whatever. And
man, I wish every culture had that. That'd be great.
So I was trying to do that. That's my intention. My intention was I wanted to do like more of like following the Ayurvedic diet as much as possible, like just trying to eat those type of foods. I wanted to do the 40 days. And then part of that is that they do these like postpartum Abhyanga massages. And I used to see things with traditional Chinese medicine and like Asian cultures and Indian culture with the belly binding. I was like, okay, I kind of want to try it out. Like I kind of wanted to do everything. She did because I was giving birth.
She did do the belly binding.
She did do the belly binding. Yeah, I still have like the belly wrap that she made.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So I was like one of those people, like if I'm going to have a kid and I waited this long in my old age to have one, I'm doing it all. Like I'm just doing it.
That's another thing I will say about having a kid when you're older. And again, I don't want to generalize because I don't want people to come for us. If I had a kid 10 years ago at 25 instead of 35, no way in hell would I have been able to afford to do all of these extra things. Like I wouldn't have been able to
I would have
afford it.
maybe just done the doula, but I wouldn't have done everything else that I did. Not
No.
the nurse.
There's no way. I
No.
wouldn't have been able to afford it. So
Oh, I couldn't have afforded it either. But even if I had the affordability, I don't know if I was like in that mental headspace to even
True.
understand that there is this much support
Right.
in postpartum.
you might have not done the research or had the
Mhm.
mindset to do it. So I think that's like another reason. I mean, the financial reasons, but also, yes, like you say, just having the mental wherewithal and the desire to do
Yeah.
to educate yourself.
Mhm.
So I think that those are another kind of pro, not con, pro for being older and having your first kid is
Yeah.
that you're thinking things through a little bit more. It's not so like, oh, we'll just see what happens. And
You're also like, I'm old, okay? Like, I need to be taken care of. Like, it's not just the baby.
well, yeah, exactly. We understand what that prioritizing. I think it's also our generation too. Like we understand the concept of self-care is not selfish.
Yes.
Like you need, especially as a mom, like you need to prioritize self-care and whatever that is. You doing this postpartum doula was important because you knew it was going to be critical for your postpartum self-care in the ways that you saw.
Yeah, and I really wanted to get that like type of experience. So I hired her literally for the Ayurvedic concept. And the fun fact about this is that my husband actually found her because I wasn't
Crazy.
successful in finding a postpartum doula. And I think I was also like so busy, like, I don't know, trying to like give birth that I was like, this is your job. But he found like the perfect person for me because she did all of this. And that's not what traditional postpartum doulas will do. Postpartum doulas are literally there to take care of you in any aspect. And so they do that. They will do your laundry. They can cook, they can clean, they can help take care of the baby. And it's all like the packages and the prices all vary depending on how extensive of help you need.
Right.
But it's not really for the baby. Like they will help you learn how to take care of your baby, but it really is for you.
Yeah, it's more like understanding. And a lot of I think postpartum doulas, correct me if I'm wrong, but the ones that I interviewed anyway, they also have like lactation.
Yes,
like,
lactation.
knowledge.
So I hired her for very specific things. I had the support to do everything else. But what I found most interesting is that she said that a lot of people don't know how to cook or feed themselves. And that's a really big part of like if you want to breastfeed.
For sure.
Right. So
Yeah.
she's had to teach so many people
It's a
on
full-time
how
job.
to kind of nourish your body properly. But then because she has the doctorate or she's getting her doctorate in Ayurvedic medicine, she'll actually teach you how to cook according to that science.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's cool.
So ultimately, I think our take is we're pro doula, even if you have a C-section or
Yes.
not scheduled or emergency, still do it, especially if you're a full-time mom. If you can afford to do it, do it. And the postpartum, again, like if it's something that you feel like you really could benefit from, having someone there to help you in your postpartum journey, definitely do it.
One thing I also think people also feel like a doula is just meant for just also the mother because she's giving birth, but really they're also there to support your partner in that entire process.
True.
So I've heard that from a male family friend of ours, and his feedback was that he didn't know how much support because so much goes on in like the labor and delivery room.
Yeah.
You sometimes forget to advocate for yourself. You forget positions, you forget the breathing technique. And like, then you do have to rely on your partner to remind you to do that. But sometimes the partner's also freaking out or like frazzled or like also in the moment and can't help support you that way. So the doula can actually help your partner help support you.
Mhm.
And that in turn makes it very supportive for a first-time father. Well, any father, but yeah. Like the partner, I should say.
I felt like hiring the birthing doula also helped my case because even though I had my mom there who had obviously had kids prior, I also was in a situation where I was the first time mom and then we had a first time dad and I didn't want him to have to had this pressure of knowing what to do to support me. So hiring the birthing doula helped with that because he was there to support me in ways that he could, but he didn't have to like stress and be like knowing all of the things, knowing the breathing techniques, knowing the different birthing positions because I had the birthing doula. So I definitely think that if somebody is a first-time mom and a first-time dad, hiring a birthing doula is really helpful because it allows for that like mental pressure to just be eased a little bit.
And then the doula will almost like have the partner there when they feel like, okay, now this is like a position for the partner to help with or whatever.
Right, exactly. It's like a coach, if you will. I agree.
All right.
Okay. Well, I think that was good. Hopefully everyone finds it helpful. If anyone is considering to hire a doula, we recommend.
Highly, highly recommend.
Yes. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.